finally Christmas time. That joyous time of year when snow is on the ground, nobody knows how to drive, and the suburban white mothers beat each other up over an American Girl doll. It's also when all of those wonderful Christmas classics come on TV. You got your Charlie Brown Christmas, you got your Elf, you got your Christmas Who, all those wonderful classics that just warm your heart. Then you got this shit.
Kind of train this is?
What the hell was that? Your monitors were not just possessed, ladies and gentlemen. You have just bared witness to the awkwardness that comes with the chilling experience of The Polar Express. Based upon the children's book of the same name and directed by Robert Zemeckis, director of these, but also responsible for that, this movie has a mixed reputation surrounding it. Some calling it a Christmas classic, while some think it's nothing special. I said bah humbug to them all, because I think that this movie is just really freaking weird. So let's not waste any time. This is The Polar Express. We start off on Christmas Eve with our main character, wait, what's his name again? Let me check the credits. Hero Boy? His name is fucking Hero Boy? That's like if I started off this video like, hey everybody, it's me, man! There is no way in hell I'm calling this kid Hero Boy the entire time. I dub thee Sir Pastry. So Pastry is struggling to believe in Santa Claus as he's starting to figure out that a lot of the stuff about him isn't quite adding up. Later that night, he wakes up to the sound of his house rattling and finds that a train has pulled up outside of his house. He goes outside and meets the conductor, played by Tom Hanks.
This is the Polar Express!
The conductor explains that the train is called the Polar Express and it's heading towards the North Pole. Pastry, however, is hesitant to get on, and the train starts to go ahead. He quickly changes his mind and gets on board. One thing you'll notice pretty quickly is that the CGI isn't awful by any means, but something just seems a little bit off. All the actors did motion capture to get the body movements as human as possible, but the lip syncing and some of the CG just doesn't exactly feel finished. Some of these kids' faces feel like a fully realized version of Henry Cavill's upper lip.
Hey you, yeah, you. Do you know what kind of train this is?
Oh Christ, I take it back, you are way too finished. Ned from Kim Possible has invaded the movie to eat me. And no, his name isn't actually Ned. He's credited as Know-It-All Kid. Who wrote this? The conductor comes into the train car to punch everyone's ticket, one of which magically appears in Pastry's pocket.
Try your other pocket.
A golden ticket that leads towards a special opportunity. Damn it, Tim Burton! Can't you leave me alone? He punches in the letters B-E into his ticket, and Ned points out that he has the letters L-E.
We're heading for the other side of the tracks.
Well, you coming?
Ah, it's just another pickup.
To make sense. Or to not make sense. Who wrote this movie? The conductor then attempts to pick up another kid, but he is as hesitant as Pastry was. The kid does try to change his mind, but he's unable to catch up. Pastry then uses the emergency brake to get him on board. This of course pisses off the conductor, but he lets it slide once he finds out that the little kid got on. The kid, however, goes into the other train car all by himself. Truly, now and forever, you are the Big Sad. Well, after all these other little moments in the film, what comes next? Honestly, the best scene in the whole movie.
Ooh, we got it! Hey, we got it!
Oh yeah, baby! Hot chocolate time! Yeah, these waiters are the exact same model, and they don't even move a facial muscle, but hot damn if this song ain't catchy. So the Big Sad didn't get any hot chocolate, so... Damn it, I ran out of names to pull out of my ass. Gonna have to use a random name generator. Alfonso.
Did he get any refreshment?
The conductor helps Alfonso across the train cars in order to get the Big Sad his hot chocolate, leaving her ticket behind. Pastry tries to get the ticket back to her, even though she'll probably come right back, and he loses it in the wind. What follows is somehow the weirdest segment in the entire movie. The ticket lands in snow, gets picked up by the wind of running wolves, is then caught by an eagle, and then is fed to the eagle's child which then it spits out, rolls down a hill, gets hit by the train, slaps a hobo, and ends up on the vent of a train car.
And I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
Pastry admits to losing the ticket, so the conductor begrudgingly takes Alfonso to the back of the train.
Yeah, he's gonna probably throw her right off the rear platform. It's standard procedure. That way she won't get sucked down under the wheel.
It is standard procedure to throw a child off the back of a moving train. God, this movie is sick. So Pastry is about to pull the emergency brake again when he finds her ticket in the vent. He tries to quickly follow them to the back car, but the big sad points out that they've went onto the roof. Because clearly when you need to go forwards, you go backwards and then up and then forwards. Basic geography. He attempts to follow them, but he instead comes across a hobo, played also by Tom Hanks.
I'm looking for a girl.
The hobo's basically there to have Pastry question his reality and wonder if anything is actually happening at all. He then puts out his campfire and starts moving towards the front of the train, leaving Pastry behind.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
Well, I suppose if Charlie Bucket won't die from a hole in his goddamn roof, this kid should at least have sniffles. The hobo quickly comes back, though, to warn them that there's a tunnel coming up with a very low ceiling, so they have to get to the front of the train as soon as possible. Or you could always, go to the back of the train and wait for the tunnel to pass and then climb back up and... Oh, you're steam! You're not very bright in your own dream, kid. One thing you'll notice about this scene is a cliche in a lot of action sequences, and it's when the characters constantly teleport to and away from their destination to keep the tension high. Take a shot every time they change location in this scene.
Trick to this kid. When I say jump,
Eight damn times! They only have to pass 4 train cars and it feels like 1,000! Pastry does make it to the front of the train to find that Alfonso is controlling it. The engineers apparently had to change the light on the train, so they left her in charge. I have no idea what movie these guys fell in from, but I want them put back. A light suddenly starts shining in the distance, so they yell to have the train stopped. Pastry doubts which lever the brake is, yet he still pulls the one Alfonso was told was the brake. The train comes to a halt to find a herd of caribou is blocking the path. To get them out of the way, they pull the engineer's beard to replicate the most annoying sound in the world. Before proceeding, I should really mention that this movie really likes to blast its theme song at almost any opportunity. It's trying so hard to come off as this charming music, but it keeps playing at almost anything, so the effect starts to wear off. Alright, time for a nice day of staying in, kicking it back. All for this dumb fucking joke. I got chips everywhere. God, my roommates are gonna kill me. One of the levers stopped working, which makes the train start escalating in its speed.
here to slow down.
Why are you still in the front of the train? Does nobody in this movie know how to move? The train then descends down a 179-degree drop. Which one of you assholes keeps trying to turn this movie into a roller coaster? The train ends up sliding across a lake of ice, leading Alfonso to almost fall off. She is caught and lifted back up with the help of the hobo.
I don't feel so good.
The pin from the lever flies off from the train and causes the ice to start breaking. Yes, and welcome to Plot Convenience 101. Now, today's topic of discussion, what's going to do a lot more damage to solid ice? This tiny little hairpin here, or this entire ass locomotive? They're drifting a goddamn train. Fast and Furious doesn't get this ridiculous.
Right.
Red line on the transporter, Mr. Scott.
Pastry finally gets Alfonso her ticket, and letters LE are also punched into hers. The conductor then leads the two of them through a train car full of broken toys that have no lights whatsoever, despite every single shot of the train saying otherwise.
I got no strings to hold me down, to make me fret or make me frown. I hit strings.
These puppets.
Pastry and Alfonso go to the back of the train to find the Big Sad singing to himself.
I think of him when Christmas comes to town.
It leads to a nice little song sequence, but my question is, how exactly is this train on a sheet of ice right now? In the last shot of the train, they were climbing up a mountain to go across a bridge. So are you telling me that they are now on a sheet of ice that is as high as a mountain? You know, maybe those flat earthers are up to something. Bright lights are shining in the distance, and it signifies that the North Pole is near, and they are almost there. I will pay you any amount of money to never show me that kid's face again. True to his horrifying word, the elves arrive to witness Santa's arrival, where he will choose one of the children to give the very first gift of Christmas. Oh, that's weird. We're only halfway through the movie. What are we supposed to do with the rest of the runtime? So the Big Sad isn't coming out of his trading car, so Pastry and Alfonso try to coax him out. Not sure why we got a shot of Ned there, but okay, proceed. They try telling him that he shouldn't be alone on Christmas, but they're interrupted as the train car suddenly detaches and starts going backwards. Are we to believe that Ned did that? Oh, shit! For a Christmas movie, this is unusually cruel! They end up crashing at a turntable, and Alfonso suggests following the sounds of bells. Pastry doesn't hear anything, but the Big Sad does.
Okay, it's down this way. Are you sure?
If you ask that question one more goddamn time, I'm gonna slap you. They find the room where they decide where a kid is naughty or nice, and they get on board one of those pipe trains Elon Musk keeps raving about. They end up stopping at a factory room full of conveyor belts, but Alfonso says she can't hear the bells anymore. Well, it's really an easy fix. You just gotta get back into that Hyperloop, wait until the next stop, or you could just go down a path that's clearly not meant for people. The conveyor belts suddenly turn on as one lone present passes them.
It's going to my town. There's someone named Billy. My name is Billy.
Wait. Someone in this movie actually has a name? By God, I feel so enlightened. It's as if the whole world has opened up to me. Thank you, Billy. I feel as if I can finally do proper commentary. Billy, fucking... Pastry and Alfonso end up chasing after him in another theme park ride. Smile as you pass the camera. All of them land in a giant pile of presents, and not one bone was broken. Suddenly, rocket launched from the floor, and it hooks to a balloon, revealing that the pile is actually Santa's sack. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. So will you. They fly through the architecture of Europe in the Industrial Revolution when it's suddenly revealed that Ned had followed them. Despite the fact that in all previous scenes there was no indication of him there. No, that's it. This is done. After some shenanigans, including the sack almost hitting the giant tree, they get on the ground and are helped out of the sack by the elves. As they reunite with the other nameless children, who I will now refer to as
The power of Isengard.
Santa makes his big debut, with Pastry unable to see him or hear the ringing from the sleigh bells. One of these bells falls off and lands at his feet.
I believe.
Holy shit, that worked! Suddenly, Santa Claus appears to him. Also played by Tom Hanks. What is this, the Nutty Professor? Why is Tom Hanks everyone? There's nothing really that special about this Santa. He's very stoic and doesn't have much personality to him.
Everybody knows the best version is Tim Allen in The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. Now that is a Christmas classic.
Santa, of course, chooses Pastry because he's the protagonist and offers him the very first gift of Christmas. Pastry decides he wants to keep the sleigh bell as his present and puts it in his pocket. Then Santa flies off to deliver the toys to the world, and the elves celebrate by... You know, I'm not really sure what joke to make here. Throw in whatever dated early 2000s band you want. The children then return to the train to have their ticket punched, and it's revealed that each ticket actually spells out a word. Ned gets learn, Alfonso gets lead, and Pastry gets believe. All that spelled out crap. But by far my favorite is Billy's. His ticket spells out different phrases like depend on, rely on, count on, good stuff. But if you look at it before it's punched, he just has the letters N-O.
Oh my god! No wonder Billy was depressed. The conductor's an asshole!
As Pastry gets on,
The power of Isengard.
want to see the bell, but it seems to have fallen out of a hole in his pocket. Before they can go looking for it, the train departs, leaving the North Pole behind. Pastry finally gets home and says goodbye to his friends. Aw, even the hobo gets a wave. The next morning, he wakes up to find no evidence of a train at all and goes downstairs to open his Christmas presents. His sister finds a small box that's addressed to him where inside is the bell he lost in the North Pole. His parents inquire about it, but they can't seem to hear the bell, thinking it's broken, even though he and his sister can hear the ringing. The film finally closes upon the narration of Tom Hanks.
Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe.
You know, for some reason, I feel like that line went a lot better when I was a kid. And also when it was written in the book. This movie's really weird.
Though I can't say the Polar Express is awful by any means, far from it. It does look visually pleasing at times, and by God am I gonna be humming hot chocolate till the end of time. But the movie still makes really bizarre choices at times. The kids really don't have that much personality to latch onto. Hell, most of them don't even have a name. It likes to meander without any rhyme or reason, and yeah, the CGI isn't that good compared to today's standards, and the music can try a bit too hard to make itself classic. But it does give off a lot of those Christmas vibes that make you feel warm inside this time of year. And if you like it, good for you. Love what you love. But for me, this is a ride I won't be taking again anytime soon.
You know, it's a shame, really. I thought I'd have a bit more to talk about with this one. Next time, I'm gonna need a movie that will really piss me off. What the hell?
So many snacks, little guy.
Excuse me for a moment. I have a pet problem to deal with.